You want to make some burgers, Zazie? You want to make some hamburgers? Do you like burgers? I like burgers. Well, let's make some burgers. What's up, everybody? My name is Alan, and welcome back to We Should Grill. You know, I had my first Smashburger been a few years ago on a trip to Nevada, and I tell you what, the way they cook it, the meat gets so crispy, it's just absolutely glorious. So let's talk about what we're going to use today when we're going to go ahead and make these burgers. Obviously, the main attraction and the start of the show is the hamburger. We're going with an 80-20 blend, and I recommend you do at least 80-20 simply because of the fat content. The fat rendering down is what makes them crispy on the grill. Look, if you already have some meat on hand, it's 90-10 or 85-15. You don't need to necessarily go out and buy something. If you can add some fat content to it by adding some some sausage, some pork sausage, or maybe a little bit of bacon, anything like that's just going to bring some fat content and really make it taste great. So the next part of the show is the bacon. Really, you can use whatever your favorite bacon is. Some people like it peppered, some people like it candied. There's all different ways to go. We're gonna just go more of a traditional center cut, good old fashioned Oscar Mayer bacon. And we'll get into the prep of both the meat and the bacon and how that's gonna go on the grill in just a few more minutes. And then the other star of the show, runner up, is the bun. Look, buns are a huge controversy or huge oh my goodness, everybody likes this bun or that bun. You pick whatever bun you like. We tend to go more traditional again with just your white standard bun. Sesame buns, brioche buns, whatever suits your fancy, but we're gonna go with some good old fashioned Franz white buns. I gotta tell you, if you need a quick meal, something you need to prep fast, maybe it's a late night, just getting off work, Smashburger is one of the fastest meals to get ready and get prepared and cook, so I definitely recommend that. So let's get outside and get the Blackstone ready. All right, so we're outside at our Blackstone, and I gotta tell you what, we got this Blackstone maybe about two and a half years ago, and it's just been great. I mean, honestly, you can use it for just about anything that you would like fry in a pan, really. Breakfast, if you wanna grill stuff, stir fry, we've done fried rice, we've done all kinds of good stuff. And obviously because of its size, you can make it in a much larger quantity if you have family or friends over. It makes making bacon and eggs and pancakes and all that kind of stuff, rather than just being on a little griddle. You got a Blackstone griddle, and it being seasoned and being used so much, the taste and the flavors that come off of it are just incredible. So what we're gonna do today is we're actually going to heat up the left three side of these three burners. We're gonna put them on medium because this is where the main grilling surface is gonna be for our product. Over here, we're gonna go ahead and do this one on low because once the bacon and the onions are rendered down, we're gonna put them over there to keep them warm. One of the ideas here is you want your bacon and your onions to be done for the most part and keeping warm because the burgers themselves, they cook very, very quickly. So you want the toppings, the bacon and the onions and the buns and all that stuff to be ready to go right with the hamburger when they're getting done. So let's go ahead and get these fired up right now. Oh, it helps if you turn on the gas, by the way. Safety feature, when you're done using your grill, I don't care which grill it is, turn off your propane valve, and when you're storing it overnight or for long periods of time, you want that valve to be off. I know that sounds kind of, safety protocol, but believe me, if it were to fall over, get knocked over for some reason, you definitely don't want that valve open and have that propane escaping, okay? So let's get this thing fired up here so we're ready to do some cooking. And I'm gonna look right under here so I can see that blue flame. There it goes, it's great. And I tell you what, this thing, it fires up and ignites every single time. It's just fantastic. This thing has been old reliable. All right, so while this is getting warmed up, let's get back inside, get those burgers prepped, and get everything ready so we can get out of here and get to cooking. All right, so we're back inside. We're gonna go ahead and start getting this food prepped. Like we mentioned earlier in the video, we got an 80-20. We're gonna use the 80-20 just as the way we got it when we bought it at the store. As you can see, it's pretty coarsely ground. It totally works. These are gonna turn out great, but if you have the ability to get the ground beef ground a lot more finer, if your grocery store will do that, if you go to a butcher shop to do that, that's definitely something you'd wanna do if you can. I mean, we're not making competition style Smashburgers today, but they will turn out a little bit better, a little bit more crispy, a little bit more even if the meat is ground up a little finer, but we're gonna work with what we have today and they're gonna turn out fantastic. So what you wanna do is you wanna have these balls be about 1/3 of a cup each. Not so much weight-wise, they're gonna be about 4 ounces typically. I'm gonna go ahead and eyeball that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just take this right here. Done this enough times and I'm getting pretty good at it, okay? You wanna get yourself a nice little ball. Okay. We're gonna be making two patties, so 2 doubles today. Okay, so we technically just need 4 balls. And you see this might be a little bit bigger, so we're gonna take a pinch off that. You want them to kind of be the same size so that they cook evenly. Okay, so when they're done, they gotta get done at the same time. Boy, guys, I tell you what, I can already smell these on the griddle. It's just amazing. I mean, I grew up eating hamburgers, nothing like this, a Smashburger. I wish it's funny because it's not like it's some special great thing that got invented. It was just like, I guess nobody thought about it. Somebody probably made a smash burger on accident and thought that they messed it up, and it probably turned out even better. So there's our 4 bowls. That's all we're really gonna need, okay? And once we get them out on the grill, we're gonna put them on as balls just like this and then smash them, okay? And after they're smashed, we're gonna be adding our seasoning, which right over here is our Killer Hogs AP seasoning. Look, AP, all-purpose seasoning. Look, it's just garlic, salt, pepper, maybe a little onion. They all have their little proprietary blend. You can use whatever seasoning you want if you want to try to mix it up with some barbecue or whatever you like. For any of the seasoning that we use, and Killer Hogs AP in particular, we'll have a link down in the description. We've experimented with a lot of them and they've all turned out pretty good, but I would say the AP of some variety, or like a Lowry seasoning salt, is gonna be your best bet. We'll put those on after we smash them. All right, now when it comes to the onions, we like ours to be cut very, very thin. If you got a mandolin slicer, or a fancy way to cut them super thin, or just do them by hand if you're good at it, we definitely recommend that they be thin. They'll cook a little quicker, they caramelize a little bit nicer. You know, some people like the crunchy onion. If you want some raw crunchy onion on top of that, that's fantastic too. The other thing I want to point out is you can never have too many grilled onions, okay? So we're gonna put some of them on these burgers, but when you're making burgers for groups, some people wanna add some on top, so you can never have too many, so I recommend always having an extra one on hand. So now that we got the burgers all prepped, let's go out there and we'll slap this bacon and slap this onions on the grill, because I bet it's warmed up and ready to go. Hey, you wanna make some burgers, Zazie? You wanna make some hamburgers? Do you like burgers? I like burgers. Well, let's make some burgers. All right, Zay's ready and so is this grill. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna be adding our bacon and our onions to this left-hand side to get them cooking. All right, I'm going with 6 slices of bacon, okay? 3 slices per burger. Can never have too much bacon, no matter what anybody tells you. Oh yeah, hear that sizzling on there? That's what we're talking about. Oh, you know what? I only got 5. So I guess somebody's gonna get shorted a piece, but that's okay. Okay, we get those going right there. The next thing we do is we're gonna grab our onions, okay? You don't really need to put anything down for the onions. You know, some people only put oil. I don't like oil because I think it makes them kind of mushy. There's enough moisture in these onions, it's gonna get them softened up and grilled real nice. All right, real quick, I wanted to show you this great little gadget that we found online, and we'll put a link in the description. You can order them on Amazon. It goes right on the edge of the grill right over here, okay? And it's to hold your tools, because once these tools have been used, they're gonna be kind of greasy, a little bit, you know, covered in oil and whatnot. So it's just a great way to keep them out of the way and keep your surfaces clean. So these onions over here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this hood that we've got over here, this dome thing. Again, got it on Amazon. We're gonna put that over there so we can trap in that steam to help those render down and get more caramelized. And as you can see, this bacon is gonna cook up pretty darn quick. And again, once the bacon is all crisped up and once the onions are all caramelized and rendered down, we're gonna move them over to the right side of the grill just so they keep warm, so that when we go to make the smash burgers, all the stuff that goes on top will be ready to go. So this bacon's cooking really quick, so we're gonna again and flip it over so it cooks nice and even. Oh yeah. See that little blackened ring that you see around the edge? Oh yeah, don't be afraid of that. That's what's gonna help it get crispy and yummy. You see that's going there? Give it a little press here to help flatten that down. Okay. Oh yeah. All right. So while that bacon's finishing up, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over to the onions over here. We're gonna lift up this dome. We're gonna shoot a little bit of water underneath there. That steam will help cook them up, and it will also help glaze some of those flavors off of the grill itself and get them back into the onions. So we'll get that in there, as you see. Oh yeah. So we'll get that. We'll get a little squirt in there. You know what would be entirely helpful is if I opened up the squirt bottle. Get that a little quicker. Not too much, okay? Just see how that glazes off there? Get those back on there. Well, that's gonna make those onions glaze up and just get incredible. The bacon is getting darn close to being done, okay? We like our bacon, and I'm sure as most of you do, to be very, very crisp. It's kind of like the Five Guys test is what we call it. If you took a piece of that bacon when it was cooked and dropped it on the floor, would it shatter into a million pieces? That's how we like our bacon. It's interesting because even in a hamburger, here all these chefs talk about texture and flavor, but texture is an interesting thing. Even in a hamburger, you're gonna get soft and, kind of spongy from the bun. The meat's gonna be, savory and tender. You might get some crunch from like the lettuce or some other things you might put on, the pickles. But I tell you, it's the crunch from the bacon that really makes it for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at these onions again. It's been a few minutes. They really don't take that much longer to cook. Okay, we're gonna give those a quick flip, give them a little stir. So you see how they're starting to render. There's a couple of thicker pieces. Okay, probably just need a couple more minutes over here. See how they're getting all brown? Oh, it's fantastic. So let those go. And I tell you what, this bacon is officially done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scoop that up here, move that over here to the warm side, okay? It's gonna allow it to cool off a little bit to help it crisp up. That's what's gonna make it get crispy, is that it's cooled off a little bit. All right, so this next step is really gonna make a difference. And so I wanna just give you a quick shout here and give you a quick note right here. See that little onion that snuck out of there? See how that's sizzling in there in the bacon grease? So that's what we want to have happen with all these onions that are under the dome here. So we're gonna take the dome off. You can see they're pretty well translucent, clear, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take them over and get them into this bacon grease. Oh yeah, see how they sizzle up there? Gonna spread them out nice and thin, okay? And this is what's gonna help them crisp up. Oh, they're just gonna be incredible. Now, we're not gonna put the dome back on them here because we actually want that moisture and whatnot in there to evaporate, okay? You don't want your onions to be mushy and soggy. So part of this is crisping them up so that they're a little bit more tender when you go to put them on. These onions are getting real close to being done, but as you can see, they are a little bit greasy still, having been in the bacon grease. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move them over to this side over here. You can see this dry spot on the grill. To let them render off a little bit on the dry part of the grill. So we can get some of that bacon grease cooked off. And look, as you can see, these onions really cook down from where we started. If you go back and watch the beginning of when we put them down, this is why we always tell you, this is gonna be perfect for 2 hamburgers. This is why we tell you to make extra, always make extra onions, because they do reduce down a lot when you cook them. And like I said, everybody wants extra onions. Something about the smell of grilled onions just kind of takes me back to like going to a Mariners baseball game or, being at the state fair when I was a kid. Literally, grilled onions are one of God's gifts to mankind. I personally love them, and I hope you do too. So let's get them moved over and let's get down to the hamburgers. There's a few things I want to talk about as far as the equipment, some of the things you're going to want to use. I recommend highly that you spend all $6 it took to get 300 of these parchment paper pieces. Again, we'll have a link to these in the description. These are gonna make it so that your patty press doesn't stick to the meat. You could use wax paper too, or parchment paper. It really doesn't matter. But again, we bought 300 of these. We're about a third of the way through them. We've made about 100 hamburgers since we bought these. But these are gonna make things infinitely easier for you. Okay, the other thing is, obviously, the smasher. This is the original Blackstone one. As you can see right there, Blackstone. You can get all this stuff online. Again, we'll have links in the description for all that. This is an essential piece. You don't have to get the Blackstone brand. There's lots of different brands of these. I've seen cast iron ones. I've seen different types. Any of them are gonna do. You just wanna make sure that it's big enough around to cover your patty. So it gets these hamburger balls onto the grill right now. So we're gonna set them down each. We're gonna run them around about, 3, 4, 5 seconds on each one of them into that bacon grease just to give them a little bit of pliability. Run them around like this. Okay, you want to make sure that you space them far enough apart that so after you smash them, they're not running into each other. Okay, get a little bit of that bacon grease goodness on there. Okay, gonna let those sit for just maybe, 10, 15, 30 seconds max. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and smash them down. So again, you wanna put that parchment paper right on top. It's not gonna catch fire, so don't worry about that. Now we're gonna smash these down super thin, thinner than you might instinctively think. You want it to be really thin so you get that extra crispy and goodness. And then once you push them down, you wanna swirl it around a little bit so that it's nice and even. You don't want it to be thicker on one side and thinner on the other side. Okay, as you can see, get that around like that. You wanna hold it down maybe 10 or 15 seconds. Okay, then bring that up. Carefully grab the parchment paper. See how thin those turned out? See those little holes and gaps in the hamburger? That is actually what you're looking for. So let's get the rest of these smashed. And the reason I'm twisting it is so that initial burn doesn't make them stick to the grill too hard so that they're hard to get off. You know what? That one needs a little bit more smashing. I could just tell by looking at it that the smash wasn't very even. Oh, you can hear that sizzling? That is what makes these things great. Oh, I know you can hear that out there. Again, only about maybe 10, 15, 20 seconds, hold it down there. That helps so the edges don't curl up when it's cooking, so you get a nice flat patty. One of the things I want to point out is when these are starting to cook, you just want to eyeball them. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of that great AP seasoning on them. Not a ton. You don't want to be overly salty. We want a little bit on there while they're on the raw side. Again, this is just going to give us some good deep flavor. We'll put some more on after we flip them over. And one of the things to remember about when you're watching these cook, obviously you're going to see the juices and whatnot rise to the top. You want these things to be like 80% cooked before you flip them over, okay? One of the initial mistakes when people start to make these is they flip them too early. Number one thing that's going to happen is you're not going to get that crispy goodness from them staying on the griddle. But the other thing is the likelihood that they might fall apart a little bit because they're super thin. Having them cook about 3/4 or even plus the way through before you flip them is going to help those patties stay in the shape that you need them to be. You see right over here, see all that red on there? You're going to want that to be nearly gone, okay? Now when you go to flip these, this outstanding Blackstone flipper, okay, as you see it's a large size so you can get the whole patty. As you can see, it has beveled edges on all the sides. It's real important when you go to flip these that you crack each one of the sides before you just try to scoop it and flip it. That's going to make sure that you don't accidentally break it apart because these can be a little bit fragile, okay? So what I mean by that is you're going to want to okay, so you can see that one's pretty loose. Okay, I'm just going to kind of crack these real quick here. And you can do that before you flip them. Okay, so this first one, it's getting real close to getting flipped over. As you can see, there's hardly any red left on it. Let's get that one flipped over. Oh yeah, see that crispy grill marks on there, that brown? That's what you're looking for on these hamburger patties. You don't want it to look tan, you want it to look nice and brown. Get these all flipped over. Oh yeah. Outstanding. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna add a little bit more seasoning to the top. I don't go too heavy with the seasoning because there's gonna be a lot of flavor in these from being in the bacon grease and the onions and whatnot, but you just want it to have a little bit of flavor on there. And this AP seasoning is a great choice. Use whatever seasoning you like, it's gonna be great. So I like cheese on my cheeseburger. Jake's not a big fan of cheese, so we're gonna go ahead and not put some on his. There can be people who don't want cheese, doesn't really matter. But for this video, okay, you're gonna want that cheese on now, okay? The cheese is gonna melt very, very quickly. So a technique that I actually learned online, go ahead and put that first bun on there, the top bun, so that helps it stick to the cheese. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here on Jake's. Part of the reason why you put the buns on here, it heats them up a little bit. We like our buns to not be grilled or toasted ahead of time. We like that softness texture to them. Look, you can grill these ahead of time or brown them ahead of time or toast them, whatever you want to do if that's the way you prefer them. This is just how we like them. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that top off first, okay? Then we're gonna take the bottom bun, or the bottom patty. Gonna get that right on there. Okay, and that top one. Look at that, ready to go. Okay, we're gonna grab Jake's over here. Let's get these burgers built. I can't wait to taste them.
Yes,
YouTube?
Smashburgers are my favorite. So what are we doing? We just building them how we want?
We're gonna start with the bacon, and like we had said, how we like it. Look at that, just breaks right in half. Not burnt. Oh yeah, it's just perfect. So let's go ahead and get these built just the way we like them. Everybody can just dive into what they prefer.
That's usually how we do it. We kind of set it up, like buffet style with all the ingredients and everything.
Yeah, buffet style. That's a great way to describe it.
We also just use our hands. So
because that's what everybody in our family does, right?
And then onions.
A little bit.
Go for it. We all just wash our hands. It doesn't matter.
No, I don't think so either. Look at that. You know what? Just a few grilled onions for me. I'm not as a bigger proponent as Jake is.
I love them.
Okay.
Hold on.
Let's hold on. Let's pause for a moment while we practice good food safety. And here, Jake, can I borrow that paper towel as well?
Yes, you can.
Oh, that's so nice of you. I appreciate that. Okay, now that we got the onions on there, okay. I like lettuce on mine. Jake, do you like lettuce on yours?
Yeah, I'll put some lettuce on mine. I'm also a little bit of a rebel in that I put barbecue sauce instead of ketchup.
Oh, that's like pineapple on pizza, man.
Yeah, ketchup is nasty.
Oh, ketchup's, you know what? I really don't like ketchup on basically anything else, but I do like it on my burgers. Not too much. And something about the combination of ketchup and mustard, that it just does it for me. I'll even do Thousand Island, which again is very controversial. But secret sauce at most of your fast food restaurants, that's all it is anyway. That's so good, I love it.
Got to get the mustard on there too.
Right, go ahead and get some lettuce on mine. Oh yeah, the bigger and the messier, the better. So you think we can take a bite of these without making a mess and getting it on our clothes?
No.
No, I don't think so either. That's what makes it so good.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right, let's give this a go. Oh yeah. You know what? They never fail. I tell you what, the crispiness of the bacon really makes it. I like the cheese. We use Tillamook cheese. There's a little bit of a bitterness to it. What are you getting?
I don't know if anybody else out there watches YouTube like we do, but I feel like this is how Dame Drop felt when he had Five Guys. Like, you know, the crispy bacon.
Yeah.
Dang.
What
is it? A weak burger versus a burger that has strength.
Strength, right?
This is a burger that has strength. Yeah.
Man, okay, we're just gonna, one more bite. All right. Look, folks. Wherever you are, Smashburgers are easy, they're inexpensive, they're fast, and you know what's great about them too that I didn't point out?
They're glorious.
Well, they're glorious as well,
Yeah.
but they span all age groups. Little kids, old folks like me, young healthy kids like Jake. Honestly, it's one of those meals that like all age groups love, so that makes another big hit too as well. So
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't be any easier to make. They turn out perfectly. There's so much margin for error too.
Yeah.
You know, you say you cook the burger a little bit too long, which these ones are perfect. They're going to be fine, just a little bit more crispy. There's so much fat in the 80-20 ground beef that it's going to stay moist. There's going to be enough flavor.
Exactly.
Bacon, pretty hard to screw up. Hard to find people that don't like bacon. And then the toppings, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do a barbecue smash burger like I've done. You could do a classic all-American one like Alan's done. You could do any toppings. You could literally do anything you want with them. So I think you've done it again. I mean, smash burgers are absolutely fantastic. And on the Blackstone, you're the master.
well, you know what? I'm sure that we will be making them again. I think maybe tonight. I think Alexis might want one of these. She's gonna be jealous that we have them without her, right?
She might.
Kennedy
yeah,
too.
I'll have these every day. Honestly.
Look, guys, thank you so much for being with us on the channel. And again, everything that we've used today and everything in this video is going to be linked down below, okay, right below us. And also, if you could do us a favor, if you want to help us out and support us, subscribe to the channel, folks. Put on those notifications so you'll see about all the new content and stuff that we have coming down the pike. It's going to be great. You won't be disappointed. And I tell you, here's the thing. We should grill, and so should you.
Yeah.
Those really did turn out good.